Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Andy, thank you for joining me today. You're now in the National League. It's what you've wanted for 13, 14 months. The players have wanted it, the fans have wanted it, the club have wanted it. And now that you're there, are you ready for it?
Yeah, it's been a really, really challenging, exciting 12 months in the club. To think about this time last year where we were thinking about what we got ahead of us as a club and me personally, I think the aim was kind of just to kind of get back into the game and down the line always get back into the National League. So from a personal point of view, I'm ecstatic to be back in the National League. I loved it when I was last there. I think it's a great place. I think it's the best league to be in, and it's just, as it says, the heartbeat of women's football. So for me personally, absolutely delighted. I think for the club and group of players and what we went through over the 12 months to get to where we are now is an absolute incredible achievement in the first year. In all honesty, I think when you think about the club, and they've tried over the last 6 or 7 years, different managers, different players to get to this point, and we've done it within less than 12 months really, and did other amazing things along the way with the FA Cup run and the County Cup. So we've had a really good 12 months, and we're pleased to be going into the National League, albeit we know that we face a really tough challenge. I'm really pleased with where the group is. We've had a really good pre-season to date. We've had 2 Tier 3 games already, some training sessions. Obviously, we started a little bit later because of our later finish with winning the league. So players have had a good break, but we've kept the core group. Lost a few through moving on to other clubs and a couple through retirement, but we've definitely had a very, very strong window with the 6 players that we brought in and looking to bring in 1 or 2 more, I would say, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, which will just finalise the squad ready for that National League challenge, which we know is going to be a real tough challenge, John. In all honesty, when you look around the teams around us and everybody's signing good quality, and that Tier 4 is much stronger than where it used to be when I was last there. So I know we've got to be at our strongest to reach our targets and our goals. And that initially is to establish up until Christmas and see where we're at and go from there, like I do every season really. So we're ready. We've had a great pre-season today. 2 great games this week ahead, and hopefully finalise the summer window as it is with a couple more signings to finish off the squad.
But it's not just about the squad, is it? Now that you're in the National League, there's lots of boxes to tick off the field as well, isn't there, for you to hit the National League requirements? How's things away from the field as well?
In all honesty, when you're in a position like we were March, April, you start prepping anyway. It's difficult to finalise because we never took things for granted. We knew that we could have easily finished second in that division last season. So Matt behind the scenes had already started prepping with the club, and it was important we did that because you run out of time otherwise, especially when you finish the season late as we did. So we started prepping, as you've seen. We've moved to Droitwich this season, which was a huge must. As much as COSE is great for training and training facilities down there, it's definitely not a match day facility right now. It will become that, I'm sure, but we needed our own football ground, and the partnership with Droitwich is great in that setup, and we play there on Wednesday night for the first time. So I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to being hosted by them for the season. And as you see, most clubs do really. They seek out with alternative venues when they need to. So that's been set, and then in terms of the kind of foundations, finances is massive. We know that. Matt's been hard at work ensuring sponsorships there, sponsorship packages. We're coming out with the sponsorship packages hopefully this week in terms of player sponsorship. So there's been a lot of groundwork in behind the scenes, and like you've said, it's not all about what goes on the pitch. There's so much to do behind it, but when you've got kind of somebody like Matt, who's behind the scenes as head of women's football, he's dealing with that and sorting all that out, to ensure we're ready and prepped for the season ahead. So we're there. We know we've got more to do, but we're in a great position on and off the pitch, ready for the National League.
That's good to hear, Andy. And one of the things that fans do like to hear over the summer are new signings who's going to be joining the team. You've announced 6 new players: Liv Woolston, Mary Britton, Liv Stokes, Beth Grady, Chloe Evans and Kieran Newell. What can you tell us about this first batch of players, Andy?
Well, first of all, they've strengthened us, no doubt about that. And I think that's important. I think when you lose players, it's always important to bring in players and make sure they're strengthening the current squad that you've got, and that's happened, there's no doubt about it. But one thing you'll note in there, that there's a mixture of real experience with 16, 17-year-olds, and that's important for me as well, because as you know, I like to build players for the future. I like to build players who are Andy Fisher players who kind of come in and understand the project and want to work hard for the badge, and done that with all of those players really, and even the experienced ones. Some of those experienced players were players who were keen to come and work with me, and I'd been keen to work with them in the past. So you look at Chloe and and Liv. Beth Grady tried to sign last season. So we've done really, really well with getting those 6 players, and all of them have strengthened us without a shadow of a doubt. And, you know, the youngsters in there, Mary on loan from Cheltenham, which is just great. I mean, she's turned some heads already. She's going to be a real one for the future of the women's game, but also this season she'll feature for us. I saw Courtney Murphy, interestingly, over the weekend, and I said she reminds me just like Courtney Murphy in the way that she looks, but also the way that she plays. So I'm really excited to have Mary, and Liv Stokes is just a very good quality on the ball. So there's just, you know, really pleased with those six we've done initially, but we know that we're probably 1 or 2 too short to finalise the squad, and whether that happens now or whether that happens early on in the season leading up to Christmas, that's absolutely fine. You know, we know that players will move on from their current clubs after their game time might be lacking, or you know, we missed out on a couple that were really keen to get over, but unfortunately we didn't get them over, and they moved to other clubs in our league, which strengthens them, and we lose out on that. But that's football, and that's football life, isn't it? So really pleased with the 6, hoping to bring 1, 2, maybe even 3 if needs be, in to strengthen us and finalise us, and whether that'll happen over the next 2 or 3 weeks, who knows? But there's potential of a couple on the horizon, so hopefully we get those finalised, and we're set for the start of the season. But yeah, like I say, really pleased with the 6 that we've got in, and looking forward to seeing them more over the pre-season.
Usually, a newly promoted club would look at survival being their priority, but knowing you and your ambition, is your ambition a little bit higher than that this season?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to go and do what we've done before, or what I've done before. I know people are going to go, oh, here he goes again, but and he said that before, but it's a very different animal, very, very different animal. And I respect and I understand the, you know, Tier 4, and I understand the level that we're about to face. So I understand what we're facing. But I trust the group, I trust the staff, and trust that we're going to be a team to watch out for, and a team to really, really try and beat, because I think we're going to be very difficult to beat. I hope. We know the challenges ahead. So I think for me, the ambition is to get away from that survival mode. I don't want to be anywhere near that. That's definitely not me, but who knows? Football's football, you never know. But my aim will be to be making it very difficult for that top group of teams who we know are in there. Your Peterboroughs, your Northamptons, your Boldmeres, your Leafields, and the list goes down, doesn't it? You know, there's some really quality teams. So we're going to be up there trying to make that difficult for them in that top half, and hopefully try and push into that. That's where I want to be realistically. I think we can be, in all honesty, with the group we've got so far, and then with the couple of additions that we want to bring in. So the ambition is to establish, of course, but establish well, and make sure we're not facing a dog fight come Christmas or after, because that's not where we want to be. And I don't think that's what we'll be doing, but who knows? We know that the division's full of quality, so the ambition will be high but realistic.
The fixtures are out, Andy. A trip to the other newly promoted side, Sheffield FC Women, on the first game of the season. Last game of the season is against Sutton Coldfield away. How much detail do you look in when the fixtures come out about who you're playing and when?
A lot of detail. You know, I've already been looking at Sheffield. They're the focus, in all honesty, because they're the first 3 points. Really funny fixture to go back into, but that'll be the same. Graham is a very, very good manager. Brought some good signings in by the looks of it over the summer. As with us, they've got high ambitions, very high, as a matter of fact, from what I've heard on his interview. But he'll be looking to get a good win on his first game back in the National League for them. So it's going to be a really, really tough challenge, but I don't think any game's going to be easy. And then the week after, you're facing Northampton, one of the favourites at home, and I know Northampton very well. I know Josh really, really well. So looking forward to seeing Josh and that group. I know they've massively improved since I've last seen them. So, and then it doesn't get any easier really with Notts and Stourbridge away. So, as well as then your midweekers that you've got in between because of the cup group that the National League have put in. So it's all exciting, but it's going to be full on. And yes, we noted the Sutton game last game of the season, because that's always kind of what you look down to, because you never know where you're going to be trying to get points from, etc. So we knew that moment's going to be important as well. So the fixtures have been looked at in detail, and our focus is Sheffield at this moment in time, and that team we're focusing on to go over there and get 3 points.
Lastly, Andy, you just mentioned it about the National League Cup. It's a new format this season. It looks quite exciting. You've got the league format, you've got the PGA teams, you've got midweek games. Just what are your thoughts on that tournament this season?
It's adding to the fixture list for sure. I didn't realise kind of how congested it was going to make the first month, and it has. two extra games or three extra games if you throw that final, the Cheltenham one in there, which is later on in the month, and those two midweekers. So that's a real challenge because that brings you kind of game weeks in a sense, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday. But listen, that's what we want. That's what the National League's about. I love midweek games. It just brings different challenges where you've got to kind of manage players. Hence why we're looking to build a big squad, and I'm sure everybody else does, to rotate in that. And we'll be looking to set a good stall out in that cup competition. I think the group's great. I think it's a really, really good group for us. I think Cheltenham, which I'm really pleased about because of our relationship with Cheltenham and Tom. So that'll be a good fixture for us to pit ourselves against Cheltenham, and then Blues in there and also Worcester. So yeah, it's a really exciting cup competition. I think the format is added to a bit of congestion, but one that I suppose this division needs really, or this division takes from you. That's what the level that these players are playing at, and we're at. So it's good. I'm pleased. I'm excited about it. And we'll just have to manage those 3 game weeks. That's part of the challenge. But there's nothing better than midweekers, and we've got 3 already in the first month, which is great. So we'll see what it brings, and hopefully we can get through that stage early on. I ain't really sure kind of how it works after the group stage. In all honesty, I haven't looked properly at it, but hopefully we set a good stall for ourselves and see what happens.
Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.